enough to govern another man without the other's consent.
Hello, nice to see you back. This is an update to previous video, and because I noticed from comments and myself that you deserve to have a little bit more clarification about certain things. So let's get to it. I want to clarify something in this video. You remember I said that this is spirituality in my previous segment, and I said that this one is not. Of course, this is a cult. Anytime if religious or spiritual leader is performing any ceremonies or asking people to do any ceremonies in any form, that's cult. Same thing here, you remember, that's a spirituality, because this just is being, not doing anything. Spirituality has nothing to do with performance or doing some stuff. Same thing here with the crayon writings. So let me explain what the situation is. This does not mean that you should not listen to any of those. These guys are very popular, they are very appealing to everyone, and people are finding something uplifting listening to their messages. If that's okay with you, just go and do it. I never said you should not follow them. However, be aware that this has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality is a state of being. It doesn't matter what you will do, you are always spiritual. And the message behind what they are saying, what spirituality is, not really clear, is not really the one that should be presented to the world. I remember I was reading crayon books, all of them. The first one, the three books that they show up. By the end of book 2, I already realized that Carol Lee is already making up stuff, and it's not really channeling anything. It's just simply he cannot see the difference between wishful thinking and what is really happening. I don't want to criticize him or Sadhguru for anything, because they have millions of followers, and whatever they are doing is okay with the public, and I am not going to step in and say don't follow them, because they don't do any damage. However, be aware that anytime you stick to ideology and you think that you need to follow that, you may get hurt, because frequently you are going to have conflict, internal conflicts. Your beliefs that you were grown up with, the one that parents passed to you, and what the society is believing in, and then what they are saying. Listen to as many people as you can and draw your own conclusion. You have your own path, and you should never ever follow just one ideology. That's the message to you from me. So I hope I clarified this. This does not mean just because they are cult leaders, because that's what they are, does not mean that they are bad people. I listen to a lots of gurus. I listen and read a lots of stuff from all kinds of philosophical theories or ideologies, just to see how the human mind works, to be better equipped to draft my own path on earth, to be better equipped to deal with the daily issues that are arising from this, not to be sucked into some one, either religious or whatever the ideology is. We have so many of them right now online, it's just ridiculous. All of those ideologies, the philosophical thoughts, trends, movements, they are only tools that are designed to help you to design your own path. You need to understand that spirituality is something that you don't do, you are. This is a really very important part of that. You remember this image from my previous video, or you remember what I said about this apex? The apex is never touching the pyramid. The pyramid is our society, our generation, our civilization. The apex is detached from that. The people over there, I call them either High Council or House of Elders, they have no interest of controlling what's below. They are only passing certain suggestions, certain ideas, trying to bring to our attention certain stuff that is in our path. All the challenges that we are going to be faced with in the next, let's say, 100 years or 500 years or 1000 years, that's their objective. In that apex, there are people from all, they are experts in every field of our life. They understand human psychology, but also they have exceptional gifts other than our usual human has. For example, you know that the Shaolin Temple is a martial arts center where you go through initiation through all the levels until you reach the level of master. At that level, there are also levels above that, which are the great masters, which grandmasters, where they keep the knowledge among themselves. They are sharing information, they are sharing their experiences, they are sharing the tactics, all the ideas in martial arts. But they are not only interested in martial arts because there is a lot of energy flow involved in this. They do not go to the bottom and tell the students the shortcuts or what the easiest way to do what they are doing, how to cheat. That's all garbage. These guys, they went through the mastering of all the basic moves, the basic elements. That's why they are masters. The people in the pyramids, which is most of our public, they are under the impression that the top is hiding some secrets that they should reveal and should tell us, because that's the right thing to do. Let me explain that. Imagine that the apex knows already when and how this whole polar reversal is going to unfold, because they do. Now imagine that they also know the places where are going to be affected by this whole catastrophic event in the minimum. And let's say that somehow someone got on that secret and said, you know what, you guys need to reveal that. You need to tell the public what this is, because we want to survive. We are demanding that you tell us where that is so we can go and be in that position there. Can you imagine 7 billion people going to that one spot, which might be a mile by mile? Do you understand that? Do you have any concept, any idea what would happen if they did that? I hope you do. That would be disaster. That would 4 billion people within 1 week would be gone. So what they're at the top, they are representing all flow of energies, the positive and the negative, because without that, even the apex would not be possible. However, in that top, they are not antagonistic to each other. They understand that they need to cooperate. That cooperation is the reason that we are here. Without that, if one would take over the other, they would both disappear. That happened in the past, because that's many wise guys were trying, let's have just good stuff. Let's do just good, golden age and no pain, no suffering. They vanished within 100 years because they had no challenges. Simple as that. Now the bad guys, it happened in the past as well. Let's say, no, you conquer, you make people do what you want, be a complete dictator and keep the power only to a few. They disappeared in less than 50 years. So those are the things that Masters and great grandmasters, they understand that interfering with people affairs, what they desire, is a deadly sin. They will never do that. And if someone is spreading those rumors that there is a group of people that wants to take control of everything and make you slaves, they simply do not understand what the heck they are talking about. And the rumors are spread by the corporate system because they do understand that at some point people will cooperate, they will get together, they will put their differences aside, and they will work together. And this is something that they cannot take it. You cannot control people when that happens, and that's a problem. Therefore, their existence on profiting of disasters or catastrophes or of crisis of all kinds of magnitude and in different areas is the thing that makes them a lots of profits, and that's why they are going to be doing this over and over and over. So please do understand that whatever view you have about this whole shadow government behind the scenes manipulating everything, you are partially correct, because there are people above the government is corrupted, and they do manipulate. But you need to understand that also there are people above them, they have different clearance, and they make sure that this wagon doesn't fell off the wheels, fell off the track and, get broken. So that you need to understand. And the other thing is, just go investigate stuff. Just look for yourself. Don't believe blindly in any nonsense that you hear on YouTube or Facebook or in any media. Media is designed to make money and money only. And Agenda 21 is one of those cases where there is a lot of at stake, because once the thing is going to be finalized, the corporate world is not going to have a freedom to go and buy whatever they want for profits. They need to make sure that the people, the contributors like you and me, they have everything they need. Otherwise, there is going to be a problem. It's already happening, but somehow they don't acknowledge that. I already explained a few times this whole concept of the apex, the High Council or House of Elders. We tend to believe that there is a secret group that is running the show, that is keeping secrets to themselves. I already explained that. You are correct to a degree, and those which are presenting the conspiracies, that there is a lot of corruption, there is a lot of misinformation, there is a lot of propaganda. The propaganda is designed to have a specific effect for the benefits of those which are materializing that, which are profiting from that. I already explained that. I'm just repeating some of the points. But what Agenda 21 is, this is a group of people, not only from the government, from the societies, from all kinds of walk of life. They realize that the way this world is progressing is a very dangerous situation. That at some point people might start buying land, start buying properties for profits, and the more they have, the more they want it. They will mine, they will exploit whatever is on that land until there is nothing left. To protect that, to prevent that from happening. That's why Agenda 21 was designed. There was a hope that all the organizations are going to be participating, that it is the duty of the local organizations to talk to the people and make them aware of what is that for and how to, what is the best way to serve them. to have input into that. This is not happening. This is like people still are under this impression that the instructions come from the top. You don't question them. You just accept them as they come. That's where the problem is. You, as a being, which is part of any organization, it is your job to make that voice heard, to verbalize your concerns, to verbalize what you don't like, to verbalize what you want to happen. Because there are people in that group that want the same thing. They are simply afraid to say anything. That's a syndrome of a classroom where students don't want to stand up and say the answer because they know they might be criticized or either by the students or by the teacher. So they just want to avoid that, because the problems that we are having is not something that happened overnight. This is a gradual piling up of those things that we were trying to avoid not to do, and now they are catching up with us. And they are growing into such extent that they become already conspiracies, theories, suspicions, which are not serving anyone. Most of you remember 9/11. 9/11 was designed to expose certain things, how the services that are supposed to protect the people are used against them. It was self-inflicted wound that was necessary to show that to the public. And there was a hope that afterwards there is going to be more involvement into prevent something like that happening in the future. But at some point, the interest of that was less and less and less, and finally, those organizations which are very corrupt by the corporate system, you need to understand that the money makers are hands over there. They want the crisis, they want mess, because that's where the money is. The making weapons, all the stuff, that's where the money is. That's where they are going to be all the time. They are going to be pushing all the buttons. And that was, the 9/11 was designed to expose that. Now we have COVID. The COVID is even more elaborate. You already know that was in planning for a long time, because all the evidence that you can find online, and not only, it points that this was very well planned event. But there are two sides to that. One of the sides was, okay, let's push the envelope further to make people run for their lives, because they need to start acting, they need to start getting organized, they need to start being resistant, they need to finally realize that this whole system is really screwed up. And right now, instead of getting everyone together, put aside all the differences, this is getting even dividing people further. There are the COVIDians, there are not COVIDians, they are, the one that taking medication, the others don't. But the key component in this was to expose the corruption from all the institutions, all the way from the top to the bottom. Not the apex, because the apex is just right now collecting data, analyzing, looking of how this is progressing. They understand the human psychology. They know that people are reactive only when you push them, when you threaten them, when you put them in the corner, then they respond. But if the situation is like they are happy, they have everything they need, all the institutions provide for them, they do nothing. They just get lazy and they are happy that everything is given to them. That is very dangerous situation. You need to understand that. That is horrible situation. That's why some of the institutions, they need to go, because the more they are going to be expanded, the less the civilization, the people, the society, the public is going to be involved in anything at all. So recap again the Agenda 21. What was the purpose of that? It was to make sure to secure the land, to secure the areas where, to keep away the corporate greedy stuff. the corporate money makers, especially the people from the Church of Kiyosaki. You know, those people are buying properties, rental properties, not only land and what's not, just for profits. And this is expanding. This is like a disease. This has to stop. Ben's arguments were that there is a government trying to push people living in small spaces where everything is limited. It is the desire of the people that want to live close to everything. They want the grocery store next door, the pharmacies and what's not. That's why the real estate is building this stuff the way it does. There is a drawback to that, because if there is a massive earthquake or something, well, they don't survive. So therefore, because of our input, we want cheap, crappy housing that it's any tornado, any earthquake, any shake, destroy them. Or we should rather ask the real estate, the builders, the architects, design something that can withstand all that. Something that is built permanently, strong foundation, something that can last for hundreds of years. Our buildings, they are crap, they are garbage. They have no chance to survive 100 years. None of them. All the scrapers, this is the dumbest design ever. The tower in Dubai. I don't know, you have to be on drugs to move into that building up there. But people do. And don't say that this is the government pushing people to go there. No, it's the people. It's the greed. Is the money-driven society that does that. When disease strikes, let's say there is an outbreak of all kinds of sickness, then it's better to control that when people are in small areas. It's much easier to take care of that. And also, when people are small areas and there is a massive catastrophic event approaching, it's much easier to take them out of that place and transfer them somewhere else. That's also a benefit. Are we going to live like that in small places sometimes in the future? Of course we will. We always did. When you do research, you will find that people were always drawn to build the cities. Although some cities were designed really well, which thousands years after we can still see how they were constructed, how strong they were. But our civilization is leaving nothing but garbage behind, because it's money driven. So Agenda 21, again, is not about screwing you over. It is designed to make you be involved. Are you going to be involved? Or are you just waiting for your politicians to do that for you? They are already corrupted. You do know that anyone who is running for the office needs money for running for that. They need to print flyers. They need to make sure that you know that they are there. That costs money. So somebody is paying them, giving them, donating them, and then in return, they need to do something for them. So you understand, that situation has to be demolished. It doesn't work. We cannot live in a world which is benefiting only 1% or 2% of people. That 2% of people understand that. Not all of them, but most of them they do. It's time to switch, change, because we are all going to disappear. Conspiracies and Russell Brand. I liked him when he tried to do some stand-up comedies. Well, he's not that funny. he tried all kinds of stuff, acting and what's not. But right now he's going on deep end. And let me explain why. He's a good guy. He's trying the best that he knows. But he's also a victim of the system. He, in his opinion, when he's presenting to the world all the problems that are there, the all the hidden agendas or whatever that he's talking about the vaccines, about the government, about the banking system, about politicians and what's not, the more you focus on those things, the more of those things are coming your way. The more you are watching those videos, the more of those things are gonna be coming your way. The more he is interested, the more he's searching for that, the more that stuff is going to be in his path. And he's at some point going to be enveloped nothing but problems, and he's gonna see them everywhere. Do you want to follow that? But he's not the only one. He's at the point where he may back out from there and start focusing on solutions over showing the world what's wrong with it. We already know what's wrong with the world. We don't need more people telling us that. We need more people which can provide some kind of intelligent solution, help us develop some kind of plan, set up a goal towards which we can work towards. Those kind of people we need. So when some people are offended by this, that I am some kind of criticizing Russell, I just want you to understand what's the meaning behind this. He is very popular, he has lots of follow-up, he is the public figure, people listen to him, but being in that position, you need to understand, you need to weigh every word you say, because that has impact what will happen next. People are being influenced by those words. So in my case, I'm not participating in that. I don't want it. I don't want any part of that. I want to look beyond this and what are the steps that we can take to get out us from this situation. And the people that are waiting for that are not just you. There are the people which are right now corrupted. They are the one in the government. They are the billionaires. They are the one being blamed that they are the shadow people. They all want right now some form of change. This awakening is not about the weird stuff that is going over there. It's about we know we are in trouble. This is what would work. Let's try this. How do we do that? What's the steps needs to be? And so on. That's what we need to be focused on, not on what Jesse Ventura is saying about the government, or what Alex Jones or the Salty Cracker or whoever or any of those people are bringing to the table. We know there is a problem. It's time to stop. Astrophysics, Ben and Douglas. Those are just two of many people that are in that field. However, they are the most popular on YouTube because, according to Douglas, he's the one who figured out the whole Ice Age, which is not correct. He used some kind of system to calculate when the polar is going, reversal is going to happen. That is also not correct, and let me explain that. Before even he was born, people already knew that this is going to happen. I'm going to give you my example. My grandparents already were talking when I was little that at some point the earth is going to flip and Poland is going to be in place where we are going to grow oranges. I didn't know what the heck is that all about, but they already knew. They already knew that the fire is going to come from the sky. There are going to be lots of storms, there's going to be lots of heat. They never said about ice and snow, but they were talking about lots of droughts and famine and diseases and wars, and they were talking about China. That was on the beginning of 70s. I was actually in mid 60s. I was little. They already were talking about China. China, look, there is like 40 years ago, 80 years ago. I'm not that old. It's like 50 years ago. They already were talking about the conflict between China and Russia. They were already talking about people going to the moon. They were already talking about the Earth flipping. So they knew that from somewhere, and when I started digging into that, I find out that many of those Rosicrucians and Templars and all the guys, they had this trade track or place where they were delivering the goods from Middle East throughout the Europe all the way north. And with those travelers, all those guys were coming in, and they were sometimes telling very interesting story, and people were paying attention. Some of them, they had very unique books, and Tesla was one of the guys that was given one of those books from, I believe, Jesuit. The same thing with what's his name, Da Vinci. Da Vinci was also aware that our civilization is coming from really very sophisticated. Our ancestors, they were very sophisticated. He knew that, and many others like Nostradamus, they knew that too. So it is in Douglas' defense. I can only tell you this: he did a hell lot of work researching this subject. He did a lot of work. He put a lot of energy into that. However, he's relying on finding of other scientists which are not always correct. So not everything over there is, I'm not going to go into details, but not everything is as it seems. The evidence of the microtectites and magnetic fields and what's not, he might be correct, but the Ice Age is a part of what happened after reversal, not before. Same thing with Ben. Ben is so convinced that what is going to happen is going to have everything frozen before and frozen after, miles of snow and ice. If that was the case, we are going to be happy, because the more ice you have above, the more it's an insulation against radiation. It is protection from cold, because under ice is warm and you can grow stuff under ice. There is a general belief that under ice nothing grows, that there is nothing happening there. That's not true. You can see how many animals are living in Antarctica under the ice, because under the ice is not that cold and you can grow stuff. In both cases, those guys are focusing on the outside effects, and they try to explain the causes of what is happening by presenting effects. That's not correct. Whatever is happening right now is not caused by any either magnetic the sheet of the galaxy, or the dust that is coming towards the sun, or any of those things. These are only responses. These are only effects, not the causes. The causes is a human, mental, psychological state. We are the one which are governing this thing, and not only us. Every plant, every animal is part of that design. Our cosmic existence is very intelligent. It's not excluding anyone. It's all inclusive and it's collective. So you may say, okay, well, this is already proven that every 12,000 years this is happening, either we like it or not. No, not correct. It appears that way. There is something called the observer effect. So if you are looking for evidence to prove your theory, you will find that evidence right there. And then once you find one element, you will be convinced even more that that's correct. Then another element and another element is going to be presented to you to make the observer effect complete. That's how it is. It is a fact, that's true, that when they analyzed all the findings, all the archaeological diggings where they brought the fossils, it appears as if this whole thing is happening that way. But we do understand also another factor that each time the blast, the massive plasma blast obliterates what was before. So the magnetic change, the massive magnetic change in those molecules is basically rewritten. They think it was 60,000 years, and then they correct that it may be 20 years ago. Then they are saying, oh, maybe that was 200,000 years ago or 50 million ago. There is a discrepancy. The same thing like with our DNA. So many people are believing that there was a group of aliens called Anunnaki, that they manipulate human DNA. There were also reptilians and all kinds of other aliens that did that. None of that is true. And we have already scientific evidence pointing that each time there is this massive blast from the sun, the solar flare, like giga flare or micronova or supernova, the DNA is being rewritten on its own, exposed to that massive energy blast. It has to, because our DNA is about to change again to prepare those that will survive for the next conditions. And the next conditions are going to be such that they require our ability is a bit different than we have right now. Our understanding, our processing of information, and recognizing this world, our behavior will change. In order to accommodate that, we need change in our DNA, because the DNA is the blueprint that follows a specific information, specific message coming from the inside. But since the message is going to change, so the processing of that DNA also needs to change. And then 200 years or 300 years from now, someone is going to find DNA from those which died, and they will compare with those which are alive, and they will say, oh crap, someone changed our DNA. How that happened? When that happened? Aliens again? It is going to be merry-go-round again, with different challenges, but it's going to be the same, over and over. In case of Ben and Douglas, they have too much emphasis on the external world, which they are presenting to us as a very hostile world, that we are going to go to a very catastrophic events and the survival is going to be very minimal. And that plays into the psyche of the human, because people try to avoid pain. They don't like the pain. Yet they constantly, when you are watching any of those channels, let's say specifically Ben, how much he's bringing anxiety to our life. Like, oh, there is a flare again, might be power off, or there is going to be storm, there is going to be this. That's not necessary. Just present the facts. There is a CME coming this way, might cause this, might cause that, or that. It may not happen anything, it's just the way it is. This is what the sun does. But the sun is not, I am repeating this so many times, it's not doing this on its own. It's always responding to our internal world, because the whole, whatever you see, the external, the frame, this is a representation of all the parts moving on the inside. It simply reflects the internal world, and that's how it's going to be all the time. So being in the panic mood and trying to find the best spot for hiding and do the stuff that is not really beneficial is not necessary. First, you need to have some kind of plan, a concept, an idea of what you actually want in the future. Then talk to people and get those which are interested in your concept on a board, and then from that draw a plan, and that from the plan you need to set up a certain wave. How all the logistics need to be set up afterwards, when you already have the group of people which are interested in this, they want to participate, they know what they want afterwards to get involved. That's the only way to go. But this is very hard to communicate, because you can see right now billionaires are trying to build bunkers and everybody is doing on its own. Well, good luck with that. So I am not trying to discourage anybody, but look at ants. They are facing so many elements, so many destructive forces in their path. Many times their nests are being completely destroyed. They don't give up, but they don't start as a one ant or two ants. They start as a colony right away, right from the beginning. And no one is writing a script for them. They already know by their gifts, by their abilities, what to do. No one is telling them that. Same thing with humans. That's how you should organize yourself. You need to be a package which are part of bigger packet, and then that packet is also bigger packet. So each packet knows what to do without telling them what to do. And that cooperative effort is going to bring the fruits. And if out of, let's say, 20 million people, only 20 will survive, that's a huge success. And of course there is this attachment, like, I should survive because I have this knowledge and this black. No, the people that will, they are always the one that are the most fit for that position, because that requires endurance, it requires mental stability, it requires many other aspects that you don't have, because let's face it, you are stuck with the computer, cell phone, car. You don't do anything in the nature. Maybe go for a walk, bike ride sometimes, but that's it. If you want to survive in the nature, you need to be one with the nature. The highest rate of survival is among the homeless people and bushmen. Our civilization? I don't think so. And there is one more thing that Ben already mentioned, Douglas as well. Somehow after every single disaster, after every single ice age, somehow all the animals and the plants, they somehow appear magically all at once. Do you understand this part? So let's wrap it up. I am going to finish this video. I am not going to do any more updates to Agenda 21 or 30 by 30 or something like that. It's just done. I hope I clarify some of the questions. If you have something else to add, please don't be shy, just please let me know that in the comment section. The next video is going to be Welcome to the Dark Side, because that's kind of its extension of what I am saying right now, but it's going to be digging deeper into the dark side. It's going to be a very interesting video. I want you to watch it. If you didn't subscribe yet, please do subscribe to this channel. Check the notification bell so you will receive notification once the video is released. And also please, thumb up, give me some sugar. And for now, I wish you all the best. Have a pleasant day and see you in the next video.